All right, for this video, what we're going to be doing is showing you a few key things that you need to do for your assembly of your puzzle cube. So I'm taking a look at my brainstorming solution that I picked to move forward to complete this project with. And what we need to go ahead and do for this is basically we're going to take the 5 pieces that we created as IPTs and then created IDWs for, and we're going to put that puzzle cube together to make sure that the solution we're proposing actually physically works before we go ahead and build our prototype. So this is a nice way to make sure that before we start building with all of these materials, sometimes really expensive when you actually get into the engineering world, that it works kind of on the computer. All right, so this is just a way to simulate that our answer is going to work out properly. So the first thing that I want to go ahead and do is just identify one piece from my puzzle that I kind of want to start out with. And just so you have a visual reference, I'm going to start with this orange piece that kind of goes through the center of my puzzle cube. All right, so I'm going to be kind of switching back and forth between here and Inventor a couple of different times so that you can visually see what I'm doing and why. So by now we should have our 5 IDWs in multi-view drawings that are completely dimensioned. Again, make sure that you're filling out that title block. I do have a video of that on my YouTube page. So the next thing that we need to do is our assembly. And this is what our assembly is going to look like when we put it on its own title block. Obviously, your solution is going to look different than mine, but we need to fit all of our pieces together. All right, so here's my finished assembly file. And you're going to notice that, oops, there we go. I can spin mine around. I can use this free orbit tool, and I can kind of spin it all around to make sure that everything fits. All right, so this is our goal for you today, to finish your assembly file. All right, so I'm going to bring in my 5 parts. You can see if I open up the little carrots, you can see what we call constraints. You can see all the different constraints that I've applied to each of my puzzle pieces. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is open up a new file. So I'm going to go to File, New, and the type of file that we want to open is a standard.iam. This is the only type of assembly file that I will ever ask you to open unless I specify otherwise. So we're going to open up a standard.iam, and again, assembly files are assembling all of your part files together for a working system. So we're going to go ahead and select Create. Again, this window that pops up, just press OK. And the first thing that we need to go ahead and do is go to Place. There are a couple different place options. I just want you to select Place, all right, Place Component. When I say component, or when it states component, it means select your part file that you want to work with. All right, as a reminder, every single one of your IPTs, all 5 of your pieces need to be in one single folder, all bundled together. Otherwise, you're going to get lots of Inventor error messages. So we want to try to avoid that. So if your 5 pieces are not together, you need to open them back up as their IPT files and go back in and save them into one singular folder. So I'm going to start with my orange part since that's the part that I identified that I want to start with. And I'm going to open only the part file for the orange part. And then you're going to notice that your cursor is, I'm going to go to my home view. Your cursor is attached with your orange part. So I'm going to place my orange part once by clicking, and then you're going to notice it's still attached to my cursor. I only have one orange piece, so I'm going to press the Escape key on my keyboard to get rid of that. All right. The assembly, in my opinion, it's easier if you have a mouse. If you don't have a mouse, just again, be patient with Inventor. The orange piece, as you can see, free floats, it moves all over the place. All right, and when we do assemblies, the first component that we always bring into a assembly cannot move. All right, so what we need to do, our first job in an assembly, is to ground this component. So you can either right click on the puzzle piece, and down towards the bottom middle, you have the word grounded. And if you check that and you try to move your part, notice it's not moving anymore. All right, and next to my cursor, there's a little pin symbol. All right, that pin symbol also shows up in your browser bar right on top of that part file symbol. So I'm going to unground this. Notice how my pin goes away. All right, so this little symbol here represents that is an IPT. That's our IPT symbol. All right. Another way you could do that is just by right-clicking in your browser bar and going to grounded as well. Notice the little pin symbol shows up, and again, my part is kind of grounded or locked in place. If you do not do that as your first step, the entire rest of your assembly is not going to work out because that first part isn't grounded or locked into place, so it's going to continuously move. So no part is going to be able to attach to it properly. The next thing that I'm going to strongly encourage that you do is go to File, Save As. Again, you want to keep everything that we're doing for this puzzle project in one single folder. So I'm going to go ahead and save this as Assembly Puzzle Cube so that I know what this is. And notice that the file extension is going to go ahead and update to a .iam. And then I'm going to go ahead and save that. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to bring in the next component, again, any piece that you want, and go ahead and show you the different constraints and how to constrain or attach that puzzle piece together.